The rooms overhaul is the next major update coming to doors, but with how close it is, almost nothing is known about it, with not a single teaser from the devs. But despite all of that, I'm gonna try to predict as much as I can about the long-awaited Roblox Doors Archives update. Starting off with my predictions for the entities coming in the subfloor. I think there's probably gonna be around 3 new entities in this update, and revamps to existing ones like A90. The first I'll be talking about, and the only we know about so far, is Honcho. We did see him in the leak, but that is it, nothing major. So the first thing is, I'm not sure if his name is actually gonna end up being Honcho, because the developers do like to do placeholder names in the files. For his behavior, I think he'll have a similar role to the groundskeeper, but for this subfloor. Being a consistent threat as you play, but also focus in major story events, like some sort of boss fight, or maybe even just cutscenes. But for stuff we know about this floor, that's pretty much it. Yes, we did get to see a few rooms, but I guess we'll talk about that later. As a complete wild guess, I'm predicting that there's going to be an entity that has to do with light, where maybe you have to shine the shake light at its eyes or something and get it to leave you. This entity will start spawning much later in your run, like maybe door 250 or even 500. The reason I think this is going to be a thing, or at least some sort of entity that has to do with darkness, is because the rooms is very associated with it getting darker each room you go through. And for the third entity I'm predicting, it'll be some sort of chase type monster. But instead of being a super fast chase, there are just a few rooms, it could be a slower chase with some sort of mechanic to distract, stun, or slow it down. This will help encourage players to move fast through the floor, because this chase will last a lot of rooms. And now for the entities that we already know getting overhauls, I think that A90 will stay relatively similar to how they are now, because it is the developer's own creation. But maybe they'll be given a slight visual overhaul, I don't really know. I also think A60 could stay pretty much the same, but maybe given another way to detect when it's coming. I think that A120 could also get a rework, with a much better model, sound, and mechanic, where it could make you hold your breath so it doesn't hear you hiding in the locker, as a trade-off to the fact that you can hide infinitely in the rooms. Plus, I think this would make A120 much more interesting, because right now it's just a boring scribbly smile. Oh. Yeah, that's probably what scribble means. So now, why don't we go over some of my predictions for the Archives rooms. So for the actual number of rooms I think this subfloor will have, I either think there will be less than 1,000 rooms, or a mechanic that lets you get through them faster, which I will talk more about in the mechanics section of this video. I also predict that a lot of the rooms will be filled with filing cabinets, which will basically just act as drawers. And I also predict that a lot of the rooms will just be revamped versions of the ones we already have in the rooms we have right now, but just instead in the Doors style. And some specific new rooms that I think could be in this update could be a large break room with many tables. And I think we're also almost guaranteed to get a room that looks like this, with a ton of cubicles where maybe we could even loot stuff from the desks. I also think there could be some sort of executive's office, which could be a place that the Honcho entity spawns, or maybe even a boss fight. Most importantly though, maybe the Archives update could even have, drumroll please, Archives! Okay, maybe that was a bit dramatic, but why wouldn't there be Archives in the Archives? Think of it as some sort of room where you could maybe even get some lore. Who knows, that would be really cool. This is going to be a very quick section of the video, but I'll just go over what lore I think will be revealed in this floor. First of all, we know the lore will have something to do with the castle, stated by the developers in a post. And I also think we could definitely get some sort of archived notes, or documents, or journals that could talk about the existence of the limbo, or the creation of the hotel or castle. I think that'd be really cool, and it would make sense because this is the Archives, which is a place where you store a ton of information, which is exactly why I think we're gonna be getting some juicy lore in this subfloor. Alright, it's finally time to talk about that room speed up mechanic that I said I think there will be. I predict that there's gotta be some sort of way to either fast travel / teleport through rooms, or get speed boosts which last a long time and maybe even stack. This could be in the form of some sort of Curious Light rift portal, or some sort of Herbivirtus thing that makes you go faster. Now I don't really know where to put this next prediction, but I guess it could fit in as a mechanic, so whatever, I'm putting it here. but this prediction is that beating the rooms will spit you back into the hotel. That beating the rooms will spit you back into the hotel a lot further. Like, for example, the courtyard, where maybe you'd come out through the statue that would split open. That would be really cool. Now, an item that I think could be in this update is some sort of upgraded shake light that could last a lot longer without having to be shooken. Or maybe the coffee cups that are already on the desks in the rooms could become items, giving you a temporary speed boost and a little bit of health. Another feature that I think could be in this floor is a mechanic reminiscent of the hotel's key system, where there would be a specific way to open the doors. Maybe you'd need a key card, or to smash down cracked glass doors by running through it with your speed boost, or kicking it like how you do in the second Mine Seek Chase. Though even if only one of my predictions were in the actual game, I would be super happy. But there is one more prediction I have to make for this video, being the release date. When could it be? Well, since the developers like releasing their updates when people are off of school, obviously, so kids can play it, I think that March break would be a perfect time for them to release their update, which gives them quite a bit of time to put out a trailer and hype up the update as much as possible. Which is why my official release date prediction is March 13th on the Friday. Yes, I do know that not everyone's March break is the same date, but it's still a good release date nonetheless. So anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you've gotten this far, you must have at least enjoyed it a little bit, so why don't you
subscribe?
Say it like you mean it.
Subscribe!
But anyway, have an impeccable day, and goodbye.